cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning subscribers. And if by chance you stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a little bit of life stuff thrown in. So today is Sunday the 19th of February, and for me at least it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride the last couple of weeks. So I have thankfully been able to get a fair bit of stitching done. Some days more than others, but hey, that's part of life for me, I guess. So this particular weekend, I've just come back from spending about 3.5 days in Canberra. I got back here in Wollongong a couple of hours ago, and word of warning, my head goes to mush in the afternoons, especially when I start feeling a bit tired and such. So my apologies in advance for stumbling over words and such. Let's see how we go. So as part of there we go. As part of some of my time that I spent in Canberra over the last few days, I was able to get some time down at my local needlework store, LNS. Yeah, LNS, local needlework store. And I was able to use a gift voucher that I received as a birthday present last year, and I was able to purchase some fabric and some threads. So I do have some of it in a bag right next to me, and if by chance you do hear a little bit of rustling, it's because I keep bumping against it, but I'll have it out of the way really soon. So the first bit of fabric I purchased was this big bundle of 25 easy count Lugana, and I initially had hoped just to get a meter of it, but yeah, turned out this was like the very last bit of fabric on the special long roll that stores have, where you can ask them to cut how much you need to size. And so yeah, I ended up purchasing the last bit of it. So I do know that they'll order more in, so it's not like I bought the store out and all the rest, but it is what it is. So because there's a fair bit of fabric here, mostly because it looks like there's a fair bit because it's folded up, I don't know what I'll stitch on it. Thankfully, I have a lot of patterns in my collection already, and the worst case scenario is that I just go online and purchase another pattern, or I design one. It'll be a really tough thing. But that said, I know that with today being the 19th and tomorrow with the 20th, that we're sort of on the cusp, depending on where we are in the world, of being a new moon. And I know that within our stitching community that some people are using the moon phases, or especially the new moon phase, to represent a new start. And I'm liking that concept, because I know that last year especially, I didn't really have too many new starts. I was mostly focusing on just working on projects that I had. It wasn't really a conscious thing. It's not like I was participating in the no new starts for last year. It just worked out that way. I did have like a couple of small starts as part of a footy challenge, stitching challenge, that's actually going to be picking up again mid-March. So we'll have more about that leading into March as we get closer to it. So anyway, new fabric. The next bit of fabric that I purchased, I haven't really ever come across or heard of even, 29 count linen. I've heard of people talking about like 32 count and the even numbers that flow either side of it, but not 29 count. So this is the 29 count fabric. It's, what's the labeling for it? It's linen 29 Newport white and blue. So this is where I don't know if these squares represent like 20 by 20, because I know that I've got some other easy count fabric that is the 20 by 20 square. So yeah, I don't know, I'll have to figure this one out a little bit. And then also some of the thread that I picked up was part of the Caron collection, as in Caron, some more Tequila Sunrise. So I'm currently working on a project using this thread that I purchased, or yeah, a skein of this, what feels like a couple of years ago, but it really could easily have been maybe 12 to 6 months ago. Anyway, I bought some more of it. I haven't run out of my first batch yet, but I've just loved stitching on the project with this silky specialty thread that I wanted to get some more. So this actually, I think the Caron collection, it's actually American. That's been imported into Australia. So yeah, it's all good. I just like stitching with that thread. And the other two spools I got were these, I think it's called Razzle anyway, Razzle something. It is 100% rayon. They're both variegated. This purple one is actually got a name to it where they're calling, I think the Crafty Frog, where I purchased this from, are calling it "Are you jelly?" As in asking the question like "Are you? How are you?" kind of thing. And this one's just doesn't have a name for it. It's just a variegated color. So I'm thinking that with this blue one, this actually could go really well with the Tequila Sunrise color, and I could use this as part of the border that I'll eventually get around to stitching on the chart I'm thinking of. The only thing is that with the Tequila Sunrise, I'm stitching the project 1/1. So one strand over one fabric square, and this particular type of thread, this probably equates to maybe two strands of DMC. It's actually a little bit thicker than the Tequila Sunrise skein. So if I'm just doing it 1/1, so I'm going to probably have to do a bit of a test run first on a scrap bit of fabric and just see how I go. I mean, this might end up being 2/1 because I think if I stitch it 2/2 in terms of the border, I'll run out of fabric. I won't be able to get it to look the way that I need, and I don't want to add more fabric if I can help it. But this has got a really beautiful silky feel to it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to working with it and finding more patterns or creating more patterns that I can use these specialty threads in. Okay, so let's get into the stitching that I've done. So with a lot of these patterns that I'll be sharing with you that I've worked on, I am currently working through a mini challenge for myself, just as a motivation thing to work through some projects that I think need some love and attention that I haven't been able to give much attention to last year especially. So with the first chart that I have to share with you is a Heaven and Earth design. It's called Moonlit Waters, and this is the max chart. There we go. So the artwork is by Julie Fain, and it's been charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I've already been able to get through about three pages, and I'm about halfway through the fourth. And I'm stitching this all with DMC colors on, I think this is 25 count. I'm stitching it 1/1, and I'm thinking that even though it's not showing up too badly at the moment, I find that the DMC black, I don't like the coverage. I think if I drop the back, okay, it's actually looking okay at the moment. But when I stitch this 1/1, when I look closely at it, I don't like the coverage the black DMC gives on this fabric, so I think I'll probably just play around with a bit. It could be a bit to do with the way that I'm stitching as well, and maybe a few other varieties in between, or reasons in between for what's going on. Anyway, so with the last couple of weeks, since we last caught up, I have finished off, I guess, a little bit of the black thread that had been hanging off here for a while. So I've just filled in some of the black there, and I've started a little bit more on the wing a bit. And then I've also been filling in a lot around here. They're very pale peachy yellow kind of colours. So I'm just very much enjoying working on the moon right now, getting it sort of filled in until I come down a bit, and then maybe work across just a little bit more. Yeah, I'm just enjoying working on this. So, yeah, not much more to say with that one. The next one is Fight Like a Girl, and the slight difference with Fight Like a Girl is that it got a lot of attention last year, and that's where I'm looking just to keep. I'm looking to keep. I'm looking to continue the momentum, and this is where I press the wrong button on my special thing, and I didn't want to export it. This is why I really shouldn't use technology when I'm tired. So what I'm needing to do here, I'm wanting to view the PDF. My apologies for the delay. Okay, so this is the cover page for Fight Like a Girl. I purchased it off Etsy like ages ago, and so it's designed by Tanya Amity, and the illustration is by Elena Zhnidkova, and I am working on, I think it's 18 count navy blue Ada, and this is where I'm at now. And I've been working on a lot of the pastel kind colored books at the moment, and especially with the purpley kind of books that are in the middle here. I know I mucked up a little bit with the stitching, and so I'm just trying to fill it in and just fudge it a little bit. So with this particular pattern, it is a mixture of full cross and half stitch. And when I imported the pattern into Pattern Keeper, it at the time didn't recognize I wasn't able to properly differentiate between half stitch and full cross. So this is where for the second bookshelf compared with the first bookshelf, with the second bookshelf, second shelf of the bookshelf, I'm just doing it all full cross, regardless of which symbol's connected to what color. I think just for my own peace of mind, it's just going to be a lot easier. So I'm stitching this with all DMC threads, two threads over one fabric square, and I'm enjoying the project. Like, once I really get into the swing of it, and it works out really well. It's quite pretty. And the other unique thing with this chart is that it's got blended threads, and I don't have my little tub with me, but to try and cope with the blended threads and trying to figure out what to do with the threads once I've got them off their little spool things, I grabbed some extra bobbins, like some blank bobbins, and wound the blended threads onto those bobbins. So, and then written. I then wrote the DNC numbers on that bobbin, to then know, okay, when the chart brings that up, I'll know what I need. And at the moment, it's working out really well. I do like how that method is working for me. So that's that. I don't count my stitches unless I absolutely have to. So this is where I'm not even really keeping track of how much time I'm stitching. But with the Moonlit Waters, that I'm stitching that on Tuesdays. I'm calling that my Tashi Tuesdays because I'm stitching it for my sister. And with Fight Like a Girl, Fight Night Fridays. So Fight Like a Girl is being stitched on Fridays. With the Friday that we just had, I didn't get much stitching done, so I tried to get a bit more done yesterday afternoon. So that worked out quite well. I think with Tashi Tuesday, on average, if it's after work and that, I'm getting about 100, maybe 160 odd stitches in for most of the projects if I'm just stitching it sitting down. So that for me equates to about an hour, maybe a couple of hours, because I might be getting up, moving around, sitting down, stitching for 5 minutes, getting up, moving around for different reasons. So yeah, that's pretty much the method to my madness for most days. Okay, the next project is the Tequila Sunrise one. So this is a free chart that is currently up on the Hot Cross Stitching website, and it's currently for sale for $5 on, or $5, $10 on the Etsy store. So this chart I have called I Count My Lucky Stars, and let's see, I'll bring up the PDF thing for it, as long as I press the right button this time and I don't end up exporting it again, because I have my moments of madness. Oof. Okay, so this is what I Count My Lucky Stars will look like when it's done. It has been intentionally charted all black, so that way, if you want to stitch it, sorry, I'm about to drop it. That way, with the chart, you can choose whatever fabric you want to stitch it on. You can also use whatever colors you want to use as well, and it can even be something where you don't even have to stitch the border. You can just stitch the words if you want. And the phrase I count my lucky stars every day that you are in my life is a phrase that I regularly say to myself when I'm winding down for the day, and it's my way of showing gratitude for the people who are currently in my life, who have since moved on from my life for different reasons, and just just showing a bit of gratitude for everything and everyone who are in my life. But I especially think of my boyfriend with this particular phrasing, because I know that I'm very, 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 very lucky to have him in my life. He's an amazing person. So this is where I found my mojo again a bit with this particular chart, and just I've ironed it. So I'm trying to be gentle with it because it's nice and smooth, and it looks crisp and pretty. And I know it's not going to stay pretty for long once I get it back into the hoop. So this is a little bit of where I'm up to now, and it is looking really nice. I just have the three words, no, four, are in my life. I just have those four words left, and then I'll have the border. And this is where I'll just reach down and grab it. Hang on. Okay, so this is where I think this blue variegated thread could work really well with the chart, but by the same token, it's variegated. And I'm thinking with the chart that I can still have two-tone, at least two-tone blues, because of my awesomeness of knowing just how, not really knowing how many skeins of shades of blue that I have in my collection, and I have too many. And that's part of why I charted this particular chart, with the intention of using up some of the skeins of blue that I have in my collection. Anyway, it'll make more sense when I start on the border and I'm able to properly share with you how many skeins of a particular shade of blue I actually have and why I've chosen to use them. Anyway, I count my lucky stars every day that you're in my life. It's looking pretty good, and I'm stitching this on 25 count linen, and I'm stitching it 1/1. So one strand of the Karen collection of Tequila Sunrise, and it's coming up very nicely, I must say. I am impressed with it. Okay, so the next one, I feel like with this next chart that I'm about to share with you, I really feel like nicknaming it just a splat of colour, but in a good way, like a good splat of colour. Where are we? Okay, here we are. So this one actually is officially called Pink Bottle Brush Mini. And this is another one of my designs based upon a photo that, buttons, I tell you, me and technology. Here we are. Okay, a Pink Bottle Brush Mini. This is based upon a photo that I took of a flower down at Bay, where I regularly holiday, and I keep forgetting the name, like the official name of the actual flower this plant is part of, and that's why I call it a bottle brush mini instead, because it just makes me think of a bottle brush. And I think for a little while there I did remember what the official plant name was, but because I have this much interest in gardening, that's why I don't remember it, and why I'm not worried about remembering it. Anyway, enough of that rattling on. Let's see what I'm up to. So this is where I'm at, and this is why I am inclined to call it a splat of colour, because it just makes me think of a splat of colour, but a very pretty one. So I'm stitching this on 14 count black Aida, all DMC thread, and so I finished up the top and I'm just bringing my way down and filling it in to eventually work my way around. And the fantastic thing with this chart is that it has less than 10,000 stitches in it. Like in terms of the entire chart, it's less than 10,000. It's probably, I think it's like 9,000 something or other. What is it? Yeah, so it's 9,417 stitches in total. So to me, that's really awesome. Like when we start talking about these sorts of charts, to have less than 10,000 in it to make up the entire chart, that's pretty cool. So I'm looking at it on the monitor next to me, and this comes up beautifully. And I say this nearly every time when I'm looking at this chart, that I feel like I need to figure out some back stitching to help really accentuate some of the petals that make up that chart. But I don't know whether I can be bothered to do it. I don't know. It may end up turning out beautifully as it is, especially if I stand like 3 meters away from it and just admire it for what it is. We'll wait and see. Okay, next project. Oh, yes, with the Pink Bottle Brush Mini, that's not attributed to any specific day. I'll sometimes pick it up on the weekends or on a Thursday, which is one of my free choice kind of days. So Thursday and the weekends are a bit of a free choice, kind of stitch whatever I feel like. I think a few years ago there was the saying of Sweewee, stitch what I want when I want. So that's a really cool acronym that I love in our community. And yeah, so that's when Pink Bottle Brush Mini comes out. I'm hoping to include it a little bit more in the football stitching challenge that I'm going to be doing again in March. The Australian Football League, or AFL, is due to start, I think, about mid-February, so roughly a month. Pardon me, roughly a month from now. So I I'm looking forward to getting some more stitching done and having another excuse to sit in front of the TV, as if I need any more, you know. So the next chart that I have to share with you, actually I don't have the PDF, but I do have the printed thing. Okay, so this is the next one. This is a Bothy Threads kit, and it's called A Dictionary of Dogs. And this one I usually stitch on Mondays, and I've nicknamed it Michael Mondays because my boyfriend's name is Michael, and he loves dogs. I mean, we both do, but he loves dogs more than I do. So this particular chart or kit, I started years and years and years and years ago and put it down because of sparkly things and other charts coming along. So I picked it up again. I picked it up again especially last year, and this actually got a fair bit of attention last year as part of the AFL footy challenge that I was working on, and it'll probably be included in my rotation again. So I've been working on this next one here, and it's coming along pretty good. I haven't had to frog it yet, but I know I probably will at some point. It's just a matter of time, really. So I'm using all of the called for threads and fabric and all the rest that came in the kit. So this is being stitched on 14 count Ada, and I think the threads in this are, I don't know, they could be DMC. They don't have any numbers connected to them. It's just on like some of the cardstock that's then got the symbol on it and then the threads attached. But yeah, it's easy enough to follow. It's all good. So this is where I'm at. So I think both Mondays that we've had, I've been able to get a bit done. Probably not as much as what I would like, but Mondays. Mondays I work. Mondays. I can't really say much more than that, really. Work is work. Work is all good. So here we are, and I guess, yeah, hopefully maybe in the next couple of weeks I'll get another bit done. I'll hopefully get this particular motif done. I hope. We'll have to wait and see. At the moment, I'm not in a rush to do the back stitching, mostly because it's probably just going to be easier if I stitch it all and then put it in a bigger hoop than do all the back stitch. Let's see how we go. I'm also remembering to keep an eye on the time because this will cut off after the 30, well, not after, smack bang on the 30-minute mark, and I have 2 minutes left. Let's see how quick I can talk. Okay, I don't have the cover page with me, but if you go back and have a squiz at my previous episode, you will see the cover chart. So this is Water Tiger 2, and I am stitching this on Wednesdays. And Wednesday we just got next to no stitching done on it, but I did do a bucket load of stitching on this on not Wednesday, my lazy Sunday. So I've been working quite a lot on this area here, and this is one of my focus pieces for this year, and I have the aim of getting it done, finished, framed by the end of September in preparation for October when my best mate is turning 40. So I don't have much more to go. Okay, I do have a bit to go. It is all DMC thread, full coverage. It is a custom crafts chart. I'm stitching this on 18 count fabric that I've had in my stash for a very long time, and I'm enjoying how this is going. It's 2 threads over 1 fabric square, and I'm just going to pause now, and I shall see you all very soon because my timing for this particular session is about to run out. So I'll see you very soon. Welcome back. Magic of Flosstube. So as I finished off just before, we were just talking a little bit about Water Tiger 2, a custom crafts chart, and I'm stitching it 2 over 1 2 DMC threads over 1 fabric square. So I've been, focusing a fair bit on this chart, and I really do hope I am on track, and I think it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. And this is going to be very much part of my rotation for the AFL Footy Challenge as well. So that will be really cool. I think it will be interesting to see how much more stitching I do get done on this chart, depending on how the footy teams go, and it'll be interesting. All I can say, I've got no control over that one. Okay, so this next chart is a Heaven and Earth design. It is a chart that I started last month as part of the New Moon, New Start thing, and it's a chart that I've had in my collection for a while, and I purchased it perhaps 2 years ago, and it's called His Master's Voice Mini, and it's charted by, or the artwork is by Lisa Parker, and I love her artwork. She's an amazing artist. It's beautiful. So this is it. Sorry, my elbow. There we are. So I've started in the middle. So I've started just, I guess, the dark shading that we see between the cat's 2 legs, and I'm coming down just near the bottom of his paws. So I am stitching this on the 25 easy count Lugana, and the markings that you see on the fabric is me just with how I was just marking it out to make sure that I had enough fabric at least to fit the pattern on, and I'm probably just going to attach fabric to the edges just so I can frame it when it's ready. So initially I started stitching this 1/1, and close up I wasn't really happy with the coverage that I was getting with the DMC, the black DMC at least, and even with the dark brown that's in this, I wasn't too happy with its coverage. So about halfway down I started doing 2/1, and I'm really enjoying so far the coverage that I'm getting with it, and I'm waiting to see. I think it's just going to be a matter of time to see how long I keep doing the 2/1 for to do the full cross. So I haven't done as much as I'd like since we last caught up on this one, but the grey thread that you sort of see off to the side a bit, that's where I've been stitching a bit. And I guess with this particular chart, this is one of my free choice ones. So I'll pick this up like on a Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday, and just get a little bit done for however long I feel. No particular time frame, no stitching count that I'm aiming to reach for each session. It's just what I feel and how long I feel for. So again, that wee thing, stitching what I want when I want scenario. So I'm enjoying how that's going, and I'd initially been toying around with stitching this on black fabric, black AIDA or something like that, because I think that really would have mitigate. It really would have reduced the amount of white fabric shown through if I'd stitched it on the black instead. So I think I was just really keen to make a start on His Master's Voice, and I just wanted to make a start using whatever fabric I had at the time. So it is what it is. And I think so far I've gotten I'm not sure if I've gotten 1,000 stitches in yet. Actually, just over 1,000. So Pattern Keith is telling me that I have stitched 1,067 stitches so far, which equates to 1.35%. And there in total, there's 78,975 in it. So I think when I get to the background of His Master's Voice, I'll see if I can bring it up again. It's going to be really easy counting in terms of the background. It's just going to be black. So I could potentially get away with doing 10 stitch for that once I know that I've gotten the main focus point done. I don't know, my plans might change by the time I get around to that. So I think we'll just have to wait and see. So just again, just so you know, that's what I'm talking about in terms of doing the 10th stitch for the background where you see the black, because there's going to be a lot of it. Yeah, but I think it'll be worth it though. I think that's why we purchase these things. And I'm looking at the key for his master's voice, and 38,134 stitches are in the DMC 310. So that's where I would need the Cone of Doom for this particular project, I think. And I've already got heaps of the bobbins of 310, so I'll work my way through that. And if I still end up needing more 310, maybe a mini Cone of Doom is what I need. Who knows? Okay, so the last chart that I've been working on is a hot cross stitching chart. It is one that is also part of my rotation of sweetly stitching what I want when I want. And this particular one did get a bit of attention last year. And this one is the black and white rolled up daisy. And this is what it'll look like when it's done. And this one's also based upon a photo that I took of a flower in, wasn't my garden, I think it was a garden down at Willow Bay where I holiday, and it was just curled up. It looks really pretty. I like it. And what I'm doing at the moment is just working on the background. I'm stitching this on 18 count black Ada, and this is where I'm at so far. And I'm doing 10th stitch on the background over where you might see my fingers wriggling around a little bit. And I am doing the 10th stitch where, just to really show how this chart can look if you choose to do either full cross or 10th stitch as the background, because I did start stitching this in full cross for the background, and I found it just boring and tedious. And I figured that if I'm feeling that way about the background of a project, then surely I'm not going to be the only one. And I know that for some people, for some of us, if we're at a stitching retreat and we just don't want to count, or we're going to be so busy talking with people and socializing that counting's out of the question. So that's where doing that 10 stitch and just being able to chat away to people is going to help a lot. So my aim for here is just to get as much filled in around here, then come down so I can start working on more of the petals, especially with petals that are very much in focus. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that comes up. So this, it's being stitched using all DMC threads, 2/1, so 2 threads over 1 fabric square, a fully pattern keeper compatible, and I'm really enjoying it. And I can definitely understand the appeal of using doing 10 stitch for full coverage projects, because it just goes so much quicker. So that's pretty much all that I've got as far as stitching's concerned. And I guess this is now, I guess, a bit of life stuff thrown in, and I guess also a little bit of trying to figure out what chart I'm going to work on, like with the fabric that I was showing at the start of this this particular episode, because I've especially got now a heap of the easy count fabric that I feel like the world's my oyster to some extent. I mean, I do have a whole heap of other fabric as well that I've got in my collection that could actually go quite well with all the fabric. So in terms of some of the charts that I'm playing around with. One of them is Dog Bookshelf by Randall Spangler. So this one, sorry about the glare. Okay, I hope, yes, cool, it's focusing. So I've been like, especially at the start of last year, so at the start of 2022, I was eyeing off this chart a bit in terms of starting it. And I've had this particular chart in my collection for a couple of years at the most now. And it's really cute. I like the colors, and what I also love with this chart is that Randall Spangler, he's done a take, like his own take on, pardon me, so his own take on some of the popular book titles. So um, on the Golden Lawn, for example, that's attributed to the Golden Labrador, and then you've got um, the Dog, the Cat, and the Wardrobe, and A Tale of Two Doggies, and the Cocker in the Rye. So the Cocker Spaniel in the Rye, and the Tale of Puppy Rabbit, and Alice's Adventures in Puppyland, and all those sorts of play on words, and it's just really cute. And I think he's done a great job. And the really great thing is that I think it's also been charted to be able to, because you can also buy them as individual bookmarks as well. And with the way this appears to be charted, I could even stitch these as individual bookmarks as well. I'm just scrolling through, and it looks like, yeah, I could actually stitch it as a bookmark. Anyway, that's one chart that I've got in mind. One that I've really got in the back of my mind is one that I actually purchased recently, and it's officially called The Inner Works of Life, and it is initially a chart of the artwork. I couldn't pronounce the artist's name very well, and it's actually the same artwork on a journal that I use for these moon phases of like new moons and full moons. So it's Stephanie Law. That's what the label is saying on the back of the journal that I use, and this is really pretty. So when had conducted a search on Heaven and Earth Designs on their website, I had used the keyword Tree of Life, and this was one of the patterns that came up. So for me, it's the colors, it's the golds, the blues, it's the watercolors and such. And then when we get closer in, we've got the girl swinging from a tree and the birds um, that go with it. And to me, it's beautiful. So I really am leaning towards starting on that. And I do have a bucket load of physical charts as well that I can go through. So then the other thought is the reader. So, for example, this was one that I purchased at the same time as his Master's Voice Mini. And this one I could actually start on some black fabric that I brought back with me from Canberra a couple of trips ago. And you might be starting to see a bit of a theme going on. I mean, with the exception of the Randall Spangler um, chart, there's a bit of a theme starting to happen. And then as I scroll through Pattern Key for a little bit, we then have another Heaven and Earth design. And this one's charted by John Shannon. And this one's called Shrooms. So this one, every so often I actually forget that I've got this one in my collection. And this one is kind of dark and cool and creepy at the same time. I like it. It's cool. But I could also see my motivation perhaps waning on that one. I'm not sure. Um, and then another thought is some of the charts that are by Children Crafts that sort of umming and ahhing about. So, for example, one that's been catching my eye a little bit. It's called It's called Love Ocean. And this one, I like the colours in it. And I guess because I'm up in Wollongong now, I'm living near the ocean. That's where I'm leaning a bit more towards the ocean kind of stuff. And we're in February. February's got Valentine's Day, that kind of thing. In February, I'm also celebrating an anniversary of 12 years. 12 years on the 25th of February. 12 years. That'll be pretty good. That'll be good. So that's where, yeah, I could do Love Ocean. I've got a few more charts connected to Tilt and Crafts that I think will probably be more suited for starting in October for the new moon there, because both of them are sort of more Halloweeny kind of ones. So they're the ones that I'm just sort of leaning towards right now. That I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. I am like liking the look of that as above, so below Tree of Life kind of chart that I purchased a couple of weeks ago. That one really is grabbing my attention, and I'm really leaning towards that one. I have to wait and see. So my brain is slowly going to mush. A little bit of life stuff, a little bit of stuff going on. Okay, so if you've stuck with me this long in terms of this episode, Hot Cross Stitching is having a 40% off sale at the moment. It's running for the majority of February and into early March. And this particular sale is 40% off all of the charts that you see in store at the Hot Cross Stitching website. I haven't been able to figure out how to get this particular code thing to work in Etsy. So that's why you need to go to the Hot Cross Stitching website, and the details for it are in the description box below. And you will need to enter in the code of birthday 40, and I'll include those keywords in the description box below as well. And you'll need to enter in that coupon code at checkout, or at the very last point when you have the option just before you pay. So if at any stage you do experience any difficulties with getting that code in or anything like that, please reach out to me and let me know, because I have noticed that some people, as part of some other advertising things I've tried to do through Instagram and the likes, I think some people have gotten to a particular point, and either they've changed their mind or something's happened and the cart is becoming abandoned. So I just wanted to let you know that if you do, please let me know. Reach out to me in any capacity that you're comfortable with. I'll put contact details in the description box below for how you can best get in contact with me if you are experiencing any problems. And I really want to be able to help you out with that if you are wanting to make some purchases, but computer says no, or whatever the circumstance might be. So yeah, just let me know and we'll get it sorted. Okay, so definitely check that out. The code is birthday 40, and that's a lot to do with a bit of the life stuff for why it's happening. So I am turning 40 on Saturday next week, and that's where the 12 years is also kicking in, where Michael and I, my boyfriend and I, we became a couple, like officially became a couple on my birthday of all days. So it's a double whammy, and it's one of those funny things where I try to say, oh look, what do you want to do? This is also kind of like us celebrating our awesomeness of being together for so long. So yeah, we'll wait and see. My parents are going to come up and see us, which is going to be really cool and exciting, because they've not been up to Wollongong before, that I'm aware of. Let alone they haven't been up here since we moved up here, and it's been Oh wow, 4 months. Been 4 months already. There has been so much going on since mid-October, and now that, yeah, 4 months feels like a long time ago, and I'm feeling tired, really tired. But that's also because I have just come back from Canberra today. We've spent 4 days there. I took roughly a week off from running. I've been doing a running plan via an Under Armour Map My Run app that I use, and my goal has been to improve my time for the distance of 5 kilometres, which equates to 3.1 miles or thereabouts. And for me, 5 kilometres is a comfortable distance where it feels long enough for a decent challenge and short enough to be able to get it done in about 30 to 40 minutes maximum. So my goal is to get as close to the 30-minute mark as I practically can. And once I've, here we go, Flosstube itchy nose. Once I do get to that 30-minute mark, like once I get it bang on 30 minutes, my next goal would be to get under that 30-minute mark. And as long as I take care of myself, I know that I can get there. It's just a matter of, I guess, being consistent and chipping away at it. And that's part of why I took a week off from running, where my body just reminded me that stretching is important as part of warm up and cool down. And on Monday, like so the Monday we just had last week, I was I was on track for doing a PB in my training for running 5Ks. I think what helped was having quite a lot of coffee throughout the day, more than I normally would have. So I just had a bit of extra energy that I needed to get rid of. And as part of a phrasing that we have in the running community, I needed to burn off a bit of the crazy, so to speak. That's part of why sometimes people do the exercise, whether it be the running, rowing, cycling, lifting weights, whatever it is that floats people's boats, or going for those long walks, trekking through trails and such. It helps to burn off the crazy a bit and get your head clear and that kind of thing. So I was really chuffed though with what I did get done in that running session. I was able to get a bit over 4.5k done in a smidgen over 30 minutes, and then my right knee just started yelling at me saying, "Hey, this hurts, stop." So I had to listen to my body and stop because it was just hurting too much. I was starting to limp, and it's not a good sign if I'm limping and running. But it was good. It was nice to get that done. So in about a month's time, sorry, Flosstube itchy nose is a thing. Um, so I think it's mid to late March. I'm going to be down at the Batemans Bay, Malure Bay area, because on Sunday the 26th of March there's going to be a running event happening. I think they're calling it Bay to Bridge Run. So I've entered myself into that, and I'm really looking forward to doing that run. I've run sections or stretches of that particular course that we're going to do so many times over the years that it's going to be one of those runs where I'm just going to be enjoying the scenery so much and just feeling at home, because that area of the world for me is like my second home. I've spent a lot of my formative years sort of just growing up in that area as part of school holidays and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that it'll be really nice weather for it, and even if it's slightly miserable, the fact of just being change of scenery down the coast, even though I can see the beach from where I live, it's just a change of scenery, and that's the main thing. So that's going to be really cool and awesome just to have that weekend away. Then, yeah, just the roller coaster ride of what life has been like, of questioning Flosstube, questioning if I should continue on with this channel, and me trying to figure out my headspace. That has been the biggest challenge. And the positive thing to come out of the mental struggle of where my headspace has been, I've got a couple of charts in mind that I need to just put into action, um, to figure out how that chart, or those charts, sorry, can look, because I've got the wording in mind of what I want to say, but I just need to figure out the borders. I think even in school years of doing assignments and that kind of thing, putting a border on anything, I've really struggled to do decorative ones. What I do love though in our current day and age is that we have so many different gadgets at our fingertips, that I can find some free patterns of borders that I can apply hopefully to the charts that I have in mind, that I hope that a lot of people will like. So we'll have to wait and see. Well, yeah, definitely have to wait and see. So it's definitely been more about the stories that I'm telling myself rather than anything else. And what's also helped me as part of figuring out what I'm doing with it all is also, bingo has very much become a popular thing in our crafting community. And what's also I need to put together and figure out is a Flosstube bingo. So it's more about engaging a little bit more with the Flosstube community and actually getting myself back into watching a variety of channels, because we've already got so many people who have been part of the community for several years now, who are almost like our gurus, so to speak, when it comes to Flosstube. And we also have a lot of new people coming on board as well. And it's a matter of, I think, all of us trying to find our voice in amongst the crowd. And what I'm forming in my head at the moment, and I'll hopefully in the next fortnight be able to have a graphic for you to show where my headspace is at, of how this Flosstube bingo can work, and what the prompts would be, and how that can then engage conversation and such within our Flosstube community in a positive way. Because that's where my headspace is trying to go at the moment, of not seeing Flosstube as a competition in some way, but more as a community, and just reminding myself of that. So that's pretty much what part of some of my goals are for the next fortnight at least. And thank you very much for bearing with me. This is now pretty much the end of this episode. So I hope you all stay safe and well, and I will hopefully see you all in a couple of weeks' time. See you later.